Good to see you again. The factory sent over the parts that were looking good on the rig. They're being fitted as we speak. Have a look at the report.
Interesting practice session there then. Let's remind ourselves of the top three, who are Verstappen, Button and Fernando Alonso. That's it for practice then. We'll see you again soon.
Hi, how are you? I'm just passing on your qualifying goals for this weekend.
We'd like to welcome you from wherever in the world you join us today for this F1 qualifying session here in Shanghai, China. This is a track that tends to ask quite a lot of the tyres, both front and rear. So is it fair to say a great deal of management will be needed in order to do well here?
Tyre wear will probably be the dominating factor around this track. It's so easy to use up the life in your tyres as you seek to find the lap time. If you have a good balance to begin with, like the Mercedes and Red Bull, you'll always stand a better chance.
The grid is all set then for the race tomorrow. But before we go, let's quickly remind ourselves of our top three, who are Grosjean, Hamilton and Nico Rosberg. With qualifying complete, all that remains is the main event. We'll be live and uninterrupted for the Grand Prix tomorrow, so make sure you join us then.
Hello, I just wanted to pass on the team's expectations for this race. Good luck.
Ever since the Sauber of Felipe Massa passed Jenson Button into turn 1 at the very first Chinese Grand Prix in 2004, Shanghai has consistently provided close racing and extraordinary memories. It's where Lewis Hamilton effectively lost the title in his rookie year, and it's where Nico Rosberg claimed Mercedes' first win of the modern era in 2012. Shanghai International Circuit then, a 16-corner high-speed thrill ride. The long and ever-tightening right-hander at turns 1 and 2 tests a driver's patience, and the flat, open to the elements location, tests their skill in a crosswind. 2 DRS zones will assist passing, and overtaking is available into turn 1, and of course down the kilometre-long back straight into the hairpin at turn 14. Joining me once again to take you through this race is the effervescent Anthony Davidson, and I'm very much looking forward to it getting underway. You raced here, of course, didn't you, back in your Super Aguri days in that infamous Chinese Grand Prix of 2007?
Yeah, that's right. I didn't last that long, though, unfortunately. Qualifying had gone pretty well, but my brakes failed quite early in the race, around lap 10 or 11, something like that. And of course, back in 2004, I was the very first Formula 1 driver to complete a lap of this circuit. Just thought I'd mention that for you, Crofty. You like a good stat? It's a fairly tough circuit on the brakes here, though. You know, there's that long back straight down into turn 14, and then you got turns 6 and 11. They're quite heavy as well. On top of that, managing your front tyre wear is always a challenge around here, so there's a lot to keep in mind during the Grand Prix.
You're above where we expected on the grid. Be careful not to lose places, as there will be faster cars around you.
So, another fantastic victory for the Silver Arrows. And I have to wonder, Anthony Davidson, just what set them apart from the competition here.
Well, they clearly have a car that comes alive in the kind of conditions we were dealing with today. It's a very balanced package in the wet, and what that means is that the drivers have confidence to attack. And having that confidence gets you on the power earlier, it lets you brake later, and can put you a long way up the road.
And here are our podium drivers today after that excellent race. They've excelled here, as they so often do, and it's a well-deserved victory. Mercedes, then, are on top today. And now let's take a look at the driver's standings. It's a good result for Lewis Hamilton, who moves further ahead at the top of the table. Moving on to the driver of the day then. Anthony Davidson, who would you go for?
I'm going to say Jenson Button. People always say he's a really smooth driver, but as he's shown here today, that's not at the expense of speed or overtaking skill.
And now let's take a look at the constructors' standings. Mercedes have extended their lead at the top of the standings. It was also a standout performance from Manor Racing today. Great stuff from them to move up the standings. That's it for today's Grand Prix, and from Ant and I, it's goodbye and see you again next time.